Cheers, everybody. Welcome back to the Beer With podcast, where every week I get to sit down and have a beer with someone that has an amazing story to tell. And we have a jam-packed episode for you today. And once again, I am joined by my co-host, your long snapper for the Baltimore Ravens, Mr. Nick Moore. Nick, what is up, man?
Sean, how's it going, man? It's been a while. Excited to be back here. Glad to have some great guests today. It's going to be an awesome conversation. So looking forward to it.
Dude, I just thought about something before we went live. So the last time we actually recorded an episode, the Ravens were sitting at 500 at 1-1. And here we are a little bit later in the season. The Ravens are back to 500, but not the way we had hoped it would go. But congrats on getting back to 500.
Thank you. Yeah, didn't have the best start to the season. Definitely not the one we envisioned for our team as we started the season back in September. But, here we are sitting middle of November at 5-5. Got a really good chance to go to 6-5 this week against the Jets. Have a really good game coming up, and we got a couple games in a short amount of time. So we just keep rolling on a 4-game winning streak, feeling really good, and things are starting to click for us. So excited to see what we're able to do in the coming weeks.
Excellent. We have a jam-packed football episode. We are going to be previewing the 105th annual Turkey Bowl game between the Calvert Hall Cardinals and the Loyola Dons. So we have Coach Tyler Ward, the varsity football coach of the Calvert Hall Cardinals. Welcome on, Coach Ward.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
We are also joined by Mr. Mike Popovec, 105.7, The Fan, and one of my graduate buddies, one of my very good friends. Mike, welcome onto the show, man.
Hey, good to be on. Thanks for having me.
I feel a little naked, man. I don't have headphones. I don't have a mic. Like I feel like I'm the one that's behind right now.
What are you on? Are you on your laptop over there?
Yeah, I gotta step my podcast game up, I guess. But
hey, I do the same thing, man. It just comes with the territory,
Yeah.
Well, a little mini studio here at home to be able to do work from home when I can. So.
Absolutely. Well, Coach Ward, welcome to Baltimore. This is your first year coaching the Calvert Hall Cardinals. What's it been like, man?
It's been great so far. I got here kind of middle of February, last, I guess, end of winter, last spring. Kind of just crash course right into all things Calvert Hall. Trying to flip some program stuff around, get to know the kids. Basically had a week and a half to kind of solidify the incoming class and kind of get things going. So honestly, I haven't really done anything in Baltimore so far. But I basically know York Road from Timonium to Calvert Hall. I know that really, really well, and know the campus really, really well. And that's been our focus so far, but definitely happy to be here. Everybody's just, welcomed me with open arms, and I can't wait to just dive more into this community and this city.
All right. So I'm a little concerned. So you were the 2023 Eastern Pennsylvania Coach of the Year. But being from Pennsylvania, I'm a little worried about which team you might be rooting for if it's not the Ravens. And just remember, we have a Raven on with us live right now.
So I got a little weird story with the NFL. My dad, I grew up in Charlottesville, Virginia, so I don't really have there's really not an NFL team. You're basically a UVA fan or a Virginia Tech fan. My dad, when he was young, they had this video game. It was like the first football video game. It had 4 teams. I think it was the Dolphins, the Steelers, the 49ers. I can't remember what the last one was.
Don't say it.
I don't even know who it was. But they had 3. He had 3 brothers, and they all picked one of those teams, and that's been their favorite team ever since. And my dad happened to pick the Steelers, which was obviously on this podcast.
I knew it. I knew it was coming.
But then I spent so much time in the Lehigh Valley I went to Lehigh, I coached at Lehigh, I coached at Bethlehem Catholic. So a big chunk of my life has been like an hour from Philly where everybody is super Eagles fans. So what I would do is I would go to places that the Eagles fans would be watching the Eagles, and I would just cheer for the other team. So I don't really have an NFL team. I'm a huge college sports fan. So, with Nick Moore on here, I'll start cheering for the Ravens and wish them good luck the rest of the way.
Hey, you just have to like us when it's 4th down or we're kicking a PAT or something.
No doubt. Just make sure that snap gets where it needs to go.
Yeah, exactly.
You could say you're a Georgia Bulldog fan. That'll make Nick happy.
That's
Wow.
a huge.
So
That's a
I
huge
also lived
boost.
in Birmingham for a few years coaching
God.
high school ball in Alabama. So I've been a Saban disciple for a while. He probably don't like to hear that either. I'm about to never be back on this podcast. It's kind of
No, I love Coach
Uh,
Saban. I know in Alabama, if you don't live in Auburn, you root for the Tide. So
no doubt.
I knew
That's
anywhere
Tuscaloosa
outside of
and
Auburn.
nothing else, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes there. But
Mm.
a lot of rich history there.
Well, and Nick, I'm from Baltimore, but I'm a Maryland fan all my life. But early '90s, I became a big Michigan fan, so the whole Harbaugh thing has been ingrained in me. And long before Maryland joined the Big Ten, I was a Michigan fan. So it makes it interesting, though, as I work on the Maryland Sports Radio Network when the two play each other. I just try to put that aside and don't make mention of being a Go Blue fan as well.
Yeah, you gotta be unbiased in
which
in
they
the
play
approach.
each other Saturday, so of course I'll be in my Maryland stuff and Go Terps and all that. But yeah, it's interesting. I kind of feel one way for football and the other way for basketball when they play each other sometimes.
Nice.
You know, if a Calvert Hall sweatshirt makes a couple cameos on the field every now and then, like you'll have a Ravens fan for life. So,
Dude, I got a story with Calvert Hall, dude. So, Sean, actually, this is with you. This is the story with Kyle Hamilton.
Oh, man.
I've seen the pictures of him wearing it. I've seen
Yeah,
it.
how did that all come about?
Bro, I don't know where he got this hoodie, okay? I know
think
Kyle.
I know how. I can probably talk more about this than maybe you can, just from knowing some of the history. So Chris Hewitt is a player for us.
Yeah.
And his dad up until
Coach, up until this year.
So he was coaching with the Ravens. So I'm sure he just probably gave one.
Yeah.
Like, hey, wear this and maybe you'll get a picture taken. It'll be really cool for Calvert Hall. But now he's off with the Colts. So maybe a Colts will wear one. I don't know.
So, all right. So Chris, Sean and I are having this conversation. This is probably 2 or 3 months ago now. And we're talking about Kyle Hamilton. Okay. So I'm from Georgia. My dad's been a high school football coach in the state of Georgia since 1980. So there's a rich history. Georgia high school football, it's a pretty big deal. And my dad coaches at one of the bigger schools in the state. And so we
Which
know
one?
my dad.
So
my dad coaches. He's the director of football operations now, but he's at Brookwood High School in Gwinnett County, just
I
outside
coached in
of
Savannah
Atlanta.
for a couple of years, so I know.
Oh, nice.
Area.
Yeah, one of my best friends was at Richmond Hill. Coached at Richmond Hill. A lot of my friends are from that area, but so anyways, my dad knows anything and everything there is to know about Georgia high school football. Okay, and so obviously we've known, he's known Kyle Hamilton since he was back in high school, and when he came to the Ravens, my dad's like, yo, Kyle went to Marist. It's a really rich private school outside of Atlanta. It's a great program in really all sports. And so I'm like, yeah, he's a great, and Kyle and I have become friends over, we've been teammates since 2022. Well, this year, we were talking about him somehow or another. I can't remember. And Sean's and I are in an argument because Sean's like, no, he went to Calvert Hall. I'm like, Sean, I know for a fact that Kyle is from Atlanta. It's like I had to go in, I had to Google his stuff. I had to pull up his Wikipedia page, like his bio, where he's from, what high school he went to. Like, I'm like, Sean, I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. Like, I know Kyle is not from Maryland. Like, his dad played basketball, but he was mainly in Europe, and they traveled a lot. And but I know for a fact he's from Atlanta. And Sean didn't believe me forever because of the one sweatshirt that he has that he wore.
Calvert Hall hoodie.
I wear sweatshirts all the time. That doesn't mean it's.
Sean, I would think you would have known it if you went to Calvert Hall there would have been more pub about it.
Would have been way more publicity on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought it slipped through the cracks. Cause there's just years where I haven't been involved at the Hall and I'm like, hey man, freaking
listen,
Hall. That's awesome.
There's not much slipping through the cracks with a first round draft pick. Okay. They know everything about that guy.
Speaking of the Marist School, 2 basketball coaches ago at Calvert Hall, John Bowersfeld, who won a couple of Catholic titles. He's the basketball coach at the Marist School, I believe now.
That's a great program, man. They got they were really good, and we never played them in football. They were in the one of the lower classifications. I went to a big public school, but we played them in baseball every year, and they had some dogs. They had some really. The first lefty I saw throw over 90 miles an hour went there. They had some great players, and Kyle's another, one of the many guys that they had over the years there that have been just unbelievable athletes.
Well, Coach Ward, I know Mike and I are interested. We want to know, now that you're in at the hall, how are you prepped for this Turkey Bowl game? Who set you aside and be like, "Hey, look, you're going to take over our program, but we need to have a talk about this Turkey Bowl game that's so rich in tradition here at Calvert Hall and how much it means to the student body and the alumni like Mike and myself."
Can I just butt in really quickly? Can
Sure.
someone, as a non-Maryland high school football person, can someone explain? Because we were talking a little bit before we started. What is this game? Like, why is it being played?
I mean, it's basically like take any of your huge rivalries and it'd be like the Michigan Ohio State game where
Yeah.
it doesn't really, or even look at the last 4 years where Ohio State won a national championship, but that senior class never beat Michigan.
Mhm.
Like, more people in 30 years are going to probably talk about them never beating Michigan than winning a national championship.
Right.
And
right.
it's a
Well,
lot like that at Calvert Hall. It's like I mean, God forbid, I hope this never happens, but we could be 0-10 going into the Turkey Bowl and win the Turkey Bowl. And there's a lot of people that would be like, "Hey man, like that's a
it was
great."
just it was a
Wow.
success. Yeah, yeah. Well,
And
there's
where I would be throwing up in the bathroom afterwards,
Yeah.
1-10, like this is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Um, where on
I'm
the flip
envisioning
side,
like an Army Navy type thing where it happens after the season and it's an
yeah, that's
every
very,
year
very
thing.
good.
It's not like I was a little late to the earlier conversation, but you guys didn't make the playoffs this year. Is that what I was
We
gathering?
didn't.
Oh,
We
okay.
finished tied for fourth, and only 4
Okay.
teams make it. We lost the tiebreak.
Yeah. So
Um,
this is an automatic game no matter what. This is
Yeah,
played every
so I
year.
think your Army
no matter
Navy
what.
thing is a good parallel, and then to kind of add to the parallel, it's like North Carolina Duke, where they're really, really close together, and like
Okay.
everybody knows everybody, whether you went to one school or not. Like, you're gonna run into people all year round. The alumni, the student, like, this is the game that obviously everybody shows up to. There's like a running list of, they've been to 50 or they've been like however many they've
Wow.
been to. So
That's
it's
really
a lot
cool.
like, so I played and coached in the Lehigh Lafayette game, which was like very, very similar. It's the most played college football game.
Wow.
And there's people that have been to 60 Lehigh Lafayette games, and like
Oh.
they may not be able to walk around during the week, but they're going to find a way to get to that game.
I love that.
Well,
So
it's
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 very
the
similar.
oldest Catholic rivalry in the country, and it's also the two schools are right down the street from one another in Towson. They used to be in Baltimore City, so you got the close proximity. It's the oldest Catholic school rivalry in the country. Used to be played at Memorial Stadium for years, and then at Ravens Stadium for years, and then eventually, I think due to the field and all that, they didn't want to get it torn up before a home game if a home game was on a Sunday, so they moved it to Towson University. But Nick and Maryland are in the Baltimore area. And Tyler, you might be learning this too. It's all about where you went to high school. When people ask where you went to school, they don't care what college you went to. They don't care about it. It's where you went to high school.
That's cool.
And it's funny. I remember interviewing, by the way, Steve Bisciotti at your owner down at the Green Turtle in Ocean City because he's friends with the owner down there. And he would come down years ago, and we'd interview him once a year. And I referenced the fact that I said, Steve, is it salt in the wound that when we lost that game to the Bears, Adrian Amos, who played at Calvert Hall, intercepted Joe Flacco's pass? So I was like, I don't give a rat's, you know what, where he went to high school. That's it. And I'm from Anne Arundel County. We don't care. That's a Baltimore thing about where he went to high school. He's like, I don't care. We just lost the game. I don't care where he went to high school.
Yeah.
I was
That's
talking
Completely
to
dismissed it.
I was talking to one of our like we obviously have shadow days for like recruits and all that stuff, and for some of the bigger guys, I try to bring people in to kind of help talk to them. And we had Stephen Kelly came back and was helping me talk to the kid from and he said this and it made perfect sense. He was saying he went to North Carolina and played lacrosse, and he admitted that Calvert Hall people talk more about their high school than anybody else in the country. And like, as I'm around more and you see that cardinal bird head around, it's like people at Calvert Hall like live and breathe Calvert Hall. And I've never been around anything like that. Like, I've been in big time Alabama high school football, and it's like, yeah, like the people at Hoover like Hoover, but like it's not like how the people care about Calvert Hall. It's very different. And it's the only time I've been around something like this at the high school level where people do live and breathe it, and it's like all they care about, and they like to let people know that they did go to Calvert Hall, and this is why they love it, and it's really cool to be a part of, and I'm definitely very blessed.
Sean, we started that whole sticker thing on the back of the cars, and then Loyola caught on, and McDonough a little bit, and Gilman as well. But that was our thing. And the funny thing is, guys, I live on the Eastern Shore, and whether it's Ocean City, whether it's Easton, there are a lot of Calvert Hall stickers. But it's funny. I know the one time on a Saturday, I go to our nearby farmers market, and I pull up. There's a Loyola sticker in a car, but I got Calvert Hall in the back. But it's like even 75, 100 miles east of Baltimore, you've got that rivalry right there. And I said, just as long as I don't bump into them in the farmers market, we'll be fine.
Should have
But
peeled
yeah,
it
it's just
off.
funny. But we are passionate. Yeah, right. But we
I
are.
may or may not have a sticker in my car ready to go, actually. I picked it up at the store a couple days ago, actually, at the open house.
Yeah. So Nick, it's a Ravens sticker, it's a Calvert Hall sticker, maybe an Orioles as well.
Yeah.
But always make sure when I got my new truck, the first thing I put on was that Cardinal sticker, and then the Ravens. So we're
That's
covered with
awesome.
the birds.
Yeah.
Nick, I feel like for Georgia, every freaking game is a rivalry game for you guys.
For the university? Yeah.
Georgia, Florida, Georgia Tech,
That's not much of a rivalry
Auburn.
anymore. Georgia Tech.
I mean, last year it was.
It was close, but they beat us 3 times this millennia. So I was the first ever Georgia game I went to before I was on the team. Georgia Tech beat Georgia, and then my second year in college they beat us. Both of them in Athens too. So, but they haven't won since 2016. I think was the last time they beat them. That was my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
But Georgia's, I mean, it's old. Like the school was built in 1785. They've been playing football since 1892. They've been playing against Auburn since 1892, and Tennessee, big rivalry. Florida, obviously. Even like now, I think it's shifting more with that Alabama, the Alabama, Tennessee. Now that they changed up the SEC a little bit, shuffled it around a hair. But they still Georgia still plays Auburn every year. Georgia still plays Tennessee every year, and still plays Florida every year. So there's definitely a lot of rivalries down there in the South. Mm-hmm. They take that shit serious down there, boy. College football is life. It's everything.
Yeah.
I don't care where you're at.
Under the lights.
Yeah.
It's Saturday. You go to Tuscaloosa or Auburn, and then Sunday you go to church, and then you'd restart your week.
That's exactly how I grew up. So I know.
Well, Tyler, we went through, and Nick, Sean knows this back. We had a long drought from 89 through 99, 11 straight years we lost to Loyola. And I was, my junior year, we lost 12-7. My senior year, they were 1, we were 2. We lost 19-7. I coached on the team in 2000 that broke the streak. We won 7-6 in overtime. And Coach Jay Robinson at the time, when he got home, I think there were flowers, there was champagne, there was beer all at his doorstep. So, Tyler, if you win this game on Thanksgiving, who knows what's going to show up at your doorstep? But it'll be good. Now, if you lose, I don't know.
Better than a for sale sign if it goes the other way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I don't know how your address, how well known your address is, but I'm sure
I want to make sure nobody knows.
Yeah,
for good and for bad. For good.
You don't want that with the baby, regardless.
Yeah. Be prepared, but no, but man, it is really a passion. I mean, we really do have a passion and a love, and the history of it is really cool. And I know my uncle played, I think it was the 50th anniversary game in '69. My uncle was the quarterback, and it came down to a field goal at the end, and it was I think a 48, 49, 50 yarder, and my uncle was the holder as well. It was a high snap. He brought it down, but the kicker did a great job, booted it through, and they won. Was it 13-10 or 16-13? And that's one of the iconic games. But of course, along the way, there's always games that stand out that mean a lot, and could be at any time. So we look forward to it. But man, it's bragging rights all year, that's for sure, especially in Towson.
No, 100%.
So what's your prep like, Coach? I mean, you said you have a 4-day-old at the house, and you're getting prepped for probably the biggest game of the year right now. What's that like?
Yeah, so this go around with us not being, unfortunately, in the playoffs, we had 3.5 weeks. So I for people that know college football pretty well, it's almost like prepping for a bowl game. And I remember back to say, no offense to the Bulldogs on here. he would talk about bowl prep on like you almost got to find a way to like taper back, like it needs to like almost a roller coaster, so you end up getting to the high point when you need to.
Mhm.
If you have weeks, if we just practice until 6 or 6:30 every day, like we'd wear out our guys, we'd lose a little bit of passion, like it would turn into a job. And I think one thing with football, like you can never make it feel like a job. Like it always needs to be love and passion for it to be at a high level. Um, and for somebody like me, that's easy, but for like a 15-year-old kid, like you got to keep it fresh and you got to keep it to where it's not feeling like he's you want him to be excited to be out there and not wondering when it's going to end.
Mhm.
So, the first week we treated it more as almost like a bye week. We did a bunch of weight room stuff. We did a bunch of recovery. The second week we kind of dove into like the bare bones of the prep. The third week, which we're in now, we've been kind of diving deeper into that prep and adding layers to it. And then next week, I mean, for the Calvert Hall guys here, like next week is crazy. There's pep rallies and all kinds of different events going on that you don't want to be adding anything next week. You just kind of want to be rinse and repeat, rehearse a little bit, and kind of get ready for Thursday morning. So just trying to find a way to get the horses to the race at 100%. Obviously, prep at a high level. Dive deeper into maybe the mental side of it, but keep the physical side of it fresh as best we can. And it's been new for me, so I mean, this is all guesswork for lack of a better term, but like I think we've done a really good job. I think the kids are dialed in. They're obviously excited. They were really upset that we didn't make the playoffs because we definitely should have. Shot ourselves in the foot a little bit, but as we said a little bit ago, it's like this game can right all the wrongs. And with this senior class, if they could finish 6-4 with a Turkey Bowl win, like that's the legacy they leave is going to be based on what they do their senior year in the Turkey Bowl and what foundation they build for the groups coming behind them. And it'll be a great way for those guys to end.
Now, quick question for you. Do you have a 4th-and-1 play called Hurricane by any chance? Just asking for a friend.
We do not. We do not. We have had some hurricane calls at one point in my career, but we don't have hurricane in this week. So if
That's a hell of
somebody's
a play
leaking
call,
you
man. That's a hell
information,
of a play.
they're incorrect.
All right.
It was a nice wrinkle. It was a nice wrinkle, unexpected.
Nick, did you know what was going down on that play, brother?
I did, yeah. Yeah, I saw the prep. I saw the prep going into the week. We added the wrinkle last 2 weeks ago against the Vikings. We added the pitch to Lamar. And then this week I saw it ran in practice one time and I was like, oh no, that's gonna be good. Nobody's done something like that, Like everybody just assumes that's gonna be a quarterback sneak, and that's just kind of what happened.
How many different wrinkles can you do out of the tight end quarterback sneak formation? Like that's good. Well's got to run dry at some point.
I just don't know, man. With Lamar Jackson back there, like,
yeah, when the next one's the pitch and let him throw it, I'm assuming.
We did that against the Vikings. It was a toss. Okay. Yeah, it was like basically a pitch pass, and guy was covered up, and Lamar was able to scurry around and get the first down. And
okay. I remember watching him run one. I guess I haven't seen him
that was it. Yeah, that was it. Okay. And with Todd Monken and his UGA genius that he has, in his belt there, I think anything is possible, man. You just never know what they could draw up out of that formation because we have such dynamic guys around them that, getting the ball to whether it's Zay or Lamar or Mark or Pat, even Pat Ricard or Derek, like there's just too many weapons right there, and it could all happen, really quickly, and nobody's really paying, no one's able to kind of see everything. So I'll be interested to see if there's any more development from there. I don't know, but I haven't seen anything. So, and if I had, I wouldn't say. So,
right.
But it was a freaking awesome play, and it was a perfect play at the perfect time, and ultimately, put us ahead and allowed us to win that game.
And that stuff is always so cool too, because that the other team is not repping this in practice. It's like they've never seen any of it.
Nobody's seen that one.
They can guess like what maybe the next trick play might be or what the next wrinkle might be, but it's not like it's your base offense that they've been repping all week. So those ones are always fun when they work out.
Yeah, I mean,
We
it's perfect. It's like the Philly special, you know? They ran it, and now everybody's seen it, and now it's kinda like, okay, well, this is always an option off this play if they give the ball to the quarterback, you know? Or if they do the toss, you always gotta keep eyes on the quarterback now. It's not a surprise, so that play will no longer be a surprise, but now it's like, is it gonna open up the actual quarterback sneak? Is it gonna make, how is it gonna help with the dynamic of the original play? So, we'll see.
we had a play for the Turkey Bowl my senior year. So my best friend was the starting quarterback. I was the backup and I was the holder. We had a trick play, Sean and Coach and Nick, that um, so we run out the field, but Jason had a special kicking shoe. So he would go to the sideline to get that shoe. I would be out in the middle of the field, ready to go to receive the snap. And the play was going to be that ultimately he didn't put the shoe on, or if he did, he would stay there. But everybody's thinking he's putting on the shoe. He's going to come out over to kick, and that they might leave him uncovered for a couple of seconds. And so the plan was, to have it hiked to me. I'd stand up and throw it to him, and then he'd go in for a touchdown. But they were very good about having someone on him the entire time when he went over the sideline and did that whole routine. So they had it covered. So we were never able to run that play. But Sean, there's some behind the scenes there for you, senior year, that we had that wrinkle thrown in. But Loyola, to their credit, had it covered, if you will. So couldn't run it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we're on a 2-year losing streak, Coach. We don't want to make that 3.
I don't think anybody does,
Pressure's
including me.
Well, it shouldn't have happened last year, if you ask me. I'll just say that. But anyway,
those are the ones that hurt. The ones where you're going in, you're a little overconfident, and those are the ones that sting.
I think there may have been some of that last year, and they thought that they could just pound the ball down their throat all game, and it didn't work out that way. And there were a couple other plays, but I'll leave it at that. But I think, Coach, something you brought up, and Nick, as an NFL guy, you guys have a bye week, but Coach, you're in a unique situation where because you guys did make the playoffs 3.5 weeks before a game. That's an awfully long time, and it is like summer camp all over, but you got to be really careful that as a coach, you don't put, you don't add too many wrinkles or try to do too many things out of character leading up to the game because you have all that time. It's a fine line sometimes to walk where you don't want to overcoach it. You don't want to add too much more in there, and you just ultimately want to be who you've been all year. And sure, you add a few things here and there, but you can't go crazy with it.
Yeah, I always think of football in terms of like fastball, changeup, curveball, and that's how you kind of build out your offense. Like you obviously have your fastball, like that's your go-to thing. That's what you want to keep working. That's your bread and butter. You need to have plays off of that kind of look like it and go a different way, and then you need to have a few kind of different wrinkles in with your changeup and your curveball, and I think that's what football's about. Like, how good can you get at your fastball? Because if you can't strike people out with that, you're going to have a hard time winning. So obviously we've been trying to dive into just being great at the things that we do, and we'll add a couple things here and there, but at the end of the day, like I think Belichick said this, but it's like, which team blocks and tackles better? Which team runs through the ball better? You can draw anything up on the board that you want, and it looks pretty, but like if you don't execute it, you don't play harder than the other team, you don't tackle better, you don't block better. None of that stuff really matters. So we've just kind of been focusing on all the little things that we try to do every day, and we always say process over product, and we're trying to be the best Sunday to Thursday team we can. So Friday nights are successful, or, this one's a little different with us playing on Thursday, but we're just trying to be great at our process and know that if we do what we should do, then Thanksgiving should hopefully take care of itself.
Now, Mike, as a former player, and Coach Ward, you'll have a little insight on this too. What's it like when these boys know that they're going to be broadcast live into thousands of homes around the state of Maryland, and they're going to, everything that they do in this game is going to be broadcast for tons of people watching at home. Mike, you were on the TV. You've got Scott Garceau in the broadcast booth. I mean, like legendary broadcaster. And what's that like?
Well, and actually, Sean, I'm trying to remember this now. Back in 97, so back in the day in the 80s, they used to broadcast that game. In the 90s, and when I played in 96 and 97 on Varsity, they had the game on the radio, but actually, I don't think they had picked it back up on TV yet. They picked it up maybe a few years later. I could be wrong about that, but in trying to remember though, but still, we knew 16,000 was the final Turkey Bowl at Memorial Stadium, and it may have been on TV, Sean. I just don't remember. I know it was on.
I was there, so I was there
Okay, so I
watching the
guess it
game, so
was.
I wasn't watching on TV in
Okay.
the night.
And
So
now that I remember, I think it was on TV. Now that I remember that, but yeah, I mean it's a huge deal. And when you don't play at a pro stadium all year, and then all of a sudden you're walking out into a huge stadium, it was number one versus number two. It's the biggest crowd that we've ever played in front of. It's a lot. You get there early to try to soak it in and take it in. But I think, and Coach, I think you would probably speak this, and Nick as well, though, that once the game gets going, though, if you're doing things right, you're dialed into the game, and you don't see the crowd. I mean, you see the crowd, but you don't hear the crowd. You're not thinking about the media attention. You're not thinking about the crowd. You're dialed into what's going on if you're doing it right. If you're not, then those things become a distraction for you. So, yeah, I mean, there's certainly a layer added that of excitement, anxiety, pressure, no doubt. The week of the game is a lot of fun and all that, but there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on from an emotion standpoint. But if you're doing it right, you're going to be locked into the game, and that's going to be all secondary type stuff. But it's great attention to have. So I wouldn't want it not be a part of it.
Yeah, and I think this game has even another added layer to it because of the Thursday night game in Baltimore. NBC Thursday Night Football is actually going to be at the game getting some clips, and they're going to show Calvert Hall Loyola
Nice.
during the
Yeah.
Ravens game, which will be awesome. Like we'll get I remember watching a Giants game and like they threw up like Bergen Catholic during like a timeout, and we're like talking about it was probably like Bosco and Bergen playing or something, but we'll get that treatment for this game, which will be really cool. And everybody in the country is going to be watching the Ravens game on Thanksgiving. So like that'll be a spotlight where Calvert Hall is going to get thrown up in front of everybody. So that'll be really cool. And I guess for the kids, like, yeah, they've never been in that environment, but like I think kids nowadays kind of like thrive on some of that a little bit. Like they want to be in the spotlight, like they want a chance to do that. And we were doing a culture session the other day because we don't want to just kill ourselves at practice all the time. And we were kind of talking about like understanding like if you're like a DJ, like you have your own mixing board for kind of how you do things. The bass is basically like your emotions, your passion, your energy, how you do things. And then like your treble is kind of like the mental side of it with like how you lock in. And we talked about just being able to manage your bass and your treble and make sure it always sounds the way it's supposed to be. So, when you do run out and there's 10,000 people out there, and that is going to ramp the bass up to 100, like maybe go take a minute, sit down on the bitch, take a deep breath, do a quick meditation and be ready to rock and roll again. So we've just kind of been preaching our guys bass and treble, keep managing your own mixing board. And if we can do that at a high level, like I think we'll be able to kind of manage just the different emotions of the game, the different, noise level, the venue, all that stuff. So if we can just focus on us and each guy understand kind of like, okay, I operate when the bass is at 80 really, really well. So if it gets up to 100, I better rework that treble a little bit to kind of make it work. So hopefully little stuff like that gets our guys in tune to themselves and understand kind of how they have to function. But I think more than anything, it's just fun. Like, how many times as a high school kid do you get to play in front of 10,000 plus people, be on TV, have all eyes on you, all your buddies at school, are hating that they're not throwing on the jersey this week. So I think it's an awesome thing for our kids at both schools, really. Like, it's really cool to be in this type of rivalry game. And obviously we want to win every single one of them, but, regardless of win-loss type of deal, like it's just a cool game and it's a cool rivalry. And I'm definitely blessed to be in it.
Yeah, I feel like it sounds exactly like when we talk, like when we have our first game and like we have the meetings the night before the first game and we're like talking to the rookies. And like this year, I kind of became the oldest special teams player that we have. And so they asked me to give a little speech. And, my kind of the gist of my talk was basically, look, this is the biggest moment of your life. As a football player playing in your very first game in the NFL, that's the biggest moment you're going to have, barring a Super Bowl and all that stuff. But like, this is going to be up to this point. This is the most intense, electric, memorable experience you've had so far in football. And I like to just tell guys, give yourself 5 minutes, stand off to the side, look at everything, hear everything, see everything, take it all in, to absorb as much as possible. And then on the first play that you go in the game, hit somebody as hard as you possibly can. I don't care if it's, obviously do your job and stay within your assignment and stay within the rules of engagement, but get it out of the way, because I feel like for me, every year I have that same, like, the butterflies come in, the anxiety creeps in, and I'm just anxious to get to that first game. I don't have the same level of nervousness I did when I was a rookie. But I still get like that, like a little bit of anxiety and anxiousness and all that, all those emotions building up. And it's like, I just want the first play to happen so that I can hit somebody, and then boom, it's like everything's gone. Now I'm like, I can put all that stuff in the rear view. I can focus on what the task at hand and what's ahead of me, and be able to perform at my highest level, at the highest level for me in those moments, because the games are huge. And this is a great example. Like, I remember my senior year of high school, we played in the state championship at the Georgia Dome. It was the first time my high school had been in the state championship, and since 1996. This was 2010, and we were playing against Colquitt County, which had Coach Rush Proach that was on the Hoover's Two-A-Day show on MTV back in the day. And this team was 5-5 in regular season. They made the playoffs because their division, or the region that they were in, only had 4 teams, and all 4 teams made the playoffs. And so they ended up, putting it together in the playoffs and making it to the championship game and playing against them. And, for us, it was like, it was just such a huge, like, that to me, that's like the most memorable moment I've ever had in, in high school football. And then even, for college, really on college football, other than the national championship game. But it's just like such a cool experience as a young kid getting that opportunity, and you want to be able to make the most of it. But the reality is it is stressful. There's a lot of added stuff that happens in a game like this that you're not used to. And it's like, how do I adapt? And in the best way, man, is just give yourself some time to be alone and be in the moment, whether you're with your buddies or, you're standing off by yourself, and just absorb it and know that first play happens, man. It's go time, and you gotta laser focus and lock in and do what you gotta do to get the win for the team.
Yeah, well said.
To be fair, Shador did have a good first play. It was just downhill after that.
He did. Hey, that place was, I said it on a podcast earlier this week, but that place was bumping, dude. When that dude walked on the field, I mean, you would have thought that it was, I don't even know. Like, I have no comparison to that environment, because that was the loudest I'd ever heard that stadium. That was one of the loudest moments I've had in the NFL, when that guy went on and then he completed the first pass, and it was like, it just went bananas. The place just erupted and went all over the place. And luckily we were able to stay course and not let that distract us, and to come away with the victory. But that made some noise now, that's for sure.
I got to tell you, from someone who was sitting at home watching that game, I was like, get the hell out of here. The script's been written. Like, we're already not feeling great about the game. And then you're just like, oh, dear Lord, I can see Sports Center tomorrow already.
Well,
and it didn't go that way.
Luckily, we were able to corral and mess up his timing a little bit. And defense really played, they really stepped up in the second half and
yeah, they
did some good things. So.
And I tell you, that defense looked like the defense of old. And I'm not talking about just 2 years ago, but you go back to the 03, the 06, the 08 defenses that I remember. All of a sudden, the blitz packages, the aggressiveness, that looked like the Ravens defenses that I'm used to seeing. And I hope we see more of it. I know it's a rookie, and I know their left tackle was out with Cam Robinson, but that brought some goosebumps to me. I got invigorated seeing all those guys come free and blitz the quarterback. That's the way the Ravens defense used to be. And they've had a lot of good ones over the years, but I hope we're able to do a little bit more of that within reason. I know we'll face some more experienced quarterbacks. Not always easy to do against them.
Yeah.
So, Coach Ward, are you adding anything special to the playbook this week that we can look forward to?
I think, just like Nick said a few minutes ago, even if that's the case, I don't know who's going to look at this thing, and I ain't going to lay any cards on the table yet. But I think keys to the game for us are very simple. We need offense to be efficient. We need, to stay on the field as much as possible. Loyola has one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the league. Um, he's super talented. He can do it with his legs. He can do it with his arm, and he's got a few really good receivers to get the ball out to. So, if we can contain the quarterback well and keep him on the sideline as much as possible, I think we'll have a great chance to win the football game. Um, and we have to make them try to bleed for everything. Like, we can't give up big plays. If they're going to score points, we got to make it be 10, 11 play drives and make them earn everything. And I think if we do that, we'll have a really good game plan on both sides of the ball. And then if we go out and execute well, obviously I think we're going to win the game. So it's the matter of, obviously, plans in place. Now we have to go execute, and they practice too, so we have to be able to make adjustments when they start doing some things that maybe we weren't quite ready for. And we got to understand that they've had 3 weeks to prep as well. So they should understand our bread and butter, and they should also be putting a few wrinkles in themselves. So we got to be ready for anything.
Coach, I'm curious too. Are you able to do any type of scrimmages against anybody outside of within your own team in a unique situation like this where you got 3 weeks? Within the rules, of course, is there anything that you can do in that regard, or do you just have to do it inter scrimmage? Because that much
Yeah.
time, if I were a coach, I'd like to play somebody else if possible, even if it's a controlled type situation.
I would say that's probably not within the rules. If it is, I don't know about it. We did not do that. We did some relatively physical days and then some other days where we were a little bit more tame. We've also been so beat up all year. It's like, I'm scared to death of getting guys hurt right now. So I wouldn't want to go full go in a practice and, lose a starting running back or lose a starting corner or whatever it may be. Just kind of with how our depth chart and how our injury reports looked all year. At the end of the day, like, you got to get the guys to the game. At this point in the year, I don't want to say you plateau, but like, we're relatively as good as we're going to get. Like, there's only but like so many more practices that we can get better at X, Y, and Z. We just need to kind of harness everything in. We need to crisp everything up and just try to fix some of our execution issues and fix some of the little things that we've struggled with throughout the year. And,
Mhm.
I think you can do that in a very, very controlled setting, and you can still practice tackling and practice all your fundamentals without being super, super physical where you might lose a guy. It's always, I think, late in the year. I mean, you as an NFL guy, Nick, with how long the season is, like, late in the year, it's like you can't go full anymore. It's like
Yeah.
your body is already, at its last limb. And these are high school kids that obviously aren't playing as long as NFL guys, but it's all relative. Like,
Yeah.
by November, like, your body is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is struggling to get to practice and get warmed up. And you're just trying to get to Friday as close to 100% as you can. So I think early in the year, that's probably why we do have scrimmages and we do go full on against other teams, and why they have preseason games, because you do need some kind of dress rehearsals and some kind of live bullets, for lack of a better term. And, at this point in the year, like, we need to crispen things up. We need to rinse and repeat over and over and over again, and just make sure we're dialed in on all the little stuff, but also try to get there as close to 100% as we can get there.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, for us in the NFL, towards the end of the season, like, the physicality is not the important aspect of practice. It's more about the execution, working on your technique. If you're D-line or O-line, have good feet, good hands, ball security, like, working on those little things, because at this point, we've already played 10 games plus the preseason. So we're looking at 13 games. We've done enough padded practices in training camp and throughout the regular season. I mean, we did pads on Wednesday, so we're still kind of doing pads. But, like, when you get later on in December and into January, like, it's not, the guys who are playing every game and every play, like, you don't need that. You just need to figure out, work on the game plan for that week, work on, your hands, your feet, your eyes, being good with, all that stuff, being able to understand the flow of what you're trying to get done and all that, so that the execution is at its premium when the game rolls around, because the physicality is already there. It's already built in. You've already put that in the bank, and you'll be able to cash that on Sunday. So it's just working on those little things. And another thing I was thinking of when you were talking here, Coach, was I remember being in college and going to these bowl games, and especially when Coach Smart got there, when you had this long of a break, two of the hardest aspects of football, what Coach Smart would always talk about at school, prepping for these bowl games, was number one, it's the pre-snap stuff. So like, the false starts, having these pre-snap penalties, lack of communication, not executing, the pre-snap stuff. And then number two is the ball security. Obviously, you haven't been in a real game environment in several weeks, and that's one of the worries we always had at Georgia. We would always harp on penalties and ball security. So we would do all kinds of drills, leading up, I think about in 2017 when we played in we played in the Rose Bowl game, and then we played in the national championship game. We did just so much. And it's not even a physical thing. It's just, and we would do like running back, hold on to the ball. You have a couple guys punching the ball on both sides. You do that at 50 yards. And like we were doing that stuff kind of routinely every day, so that we didn't have a drop off going into this game after such a long break. Are those some of the things that you guys have been focusing on, just trying to get the pre-snap stuff settled in, the communication good, and then making sure that ball security is always at a premium? Obviously, we know the turnovers is the keys to winning games, and in a lot of these, especially these big rivalry games. Those are some of the big points.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was talking to our kids about it, and I remember a story about Kobe where like he was just in the gym one day working just turn around and face up, like the most basic thing you can basically do in basketball, and he was doing it for like hours. And a reporter, I can't remember if it was a reporter or a young player or something, came in and was like, Kobe, like, I figured coming to watch you train or whatever, you'd be doing all these crazy drills and all this, outlandish things because you're the best basketball player in the world. But like, you're sitting here doing something that my 8-year-old does at his practice. And like Kobe turned to the guy and was like, you can never get bored with the mundane. Like you have to be so good at the most basic things. And I think with football, especially, like, it's about 11 guys doing their job, and the best way for them to do their job is for them to do it at a high level. So it's like, if you're a D lineman, like making sure you're getting off the ball fast, you're striking hard with your hands. If you're an O lineman, you're taking the right steps. If you're a receiver, you're catching the ball with your hands, you're looking that puck in. If you're a running back, you're slow and controlled to the hole and exploding through it with two hands on the football. Just like all the little stuff that used to get preached in youth league, but like all the main points always get carried over. Like you have to protect the football, you have to tackle well, you have to play harder than the other team. Like if you do those things and you execute, usually good things happen. So I think there's a lot of truth to that. Out of all the things that we have maybe changed at practice, even the days that we went much lighter and maybe did more film or lifted, we would always do a ton of individual. Like, so we would still get in those individual drills. We would still take time to do the basics, even on the days that we were only going to be out there for a little bit. So I think those are the things that you can never skip on for sure.
Agreed.
Now, Nick, you guys are prepping for your big Thanksgiving game. What kind of toll does that take playing on Thanksgiving? Obviously, Coach Ward, you got the morning game. Nick, you got the night game. What's it like on Thanksgiving when you've got a big game like that?
Well, this is my first game on Thanksgiving, so it'll be an interesting. We got a lot of family coming up. Thanksgiving is a pretty big holiday for my crew, so most of my family's coming into town for the game. It'll be a fun, different experience, but for us, like we had a short week a few weeks ago when we went to Miami. I think that's like the biggest thing. Like we're prepping to play the Jets on Sunday, and then we're gonna flip around, and 96 hours later we're gonna be kicking off against the Bengals. So it happens really quickly, and you have to learn, especially against a division opponent, you have to learn the game plan. You basically start coaching like right away. Like I know after we played the Bears, we had the short week in Miami, and like I went to dinner after the game and saw one of my coaches there, and he's like, "Oh, you guys have a good evening." I was like, "Oh, what are you gonna do?" He's like, "Oh, I gotta go back to the office. I gotta go work at 7:30." And like, we just finished playing. It was like, I don't know, 6:00, 6:30 at night, and we just played at 1. And that's kind of how it goes. Like the turnaround is so fast. We come back in Monday afternoon. We start game planning, right away and getting ready to go. And for us, like the Thanksgiving aspect of it is cool. We played on Christmas last year. There's like a lot of different, stuff that the NFL likes to add to those games, but for us, we've been in the same mindset basically since the bye week. We've been in this fight or flight mode where we're 1-5. Every game from here till the end is a must win for us if we're trying to achieve the goals that we set out to achieve back in September. So we know that the important thing, we know we have that quick week coming up, but right now we're focusing on getting this win in against the Jets on Sunday. We got to finish up our practice work tomorrow and Saturday and get into that game on Sunday and come out with a victory against the Jets, and then turn around Monday morning, get back to work and start planning for a really good division opponent against the Bengals. I mean, these division games, as you guys know, with this Calvert Hall rivalry, like the records, they really go out the window. Like it doesn't matter if this team is the greatest team ever and this team has no business playing football. When you get into these division games, these rivalry games, any team can win at any given moment. And we've seen, us in particular over the years, even I think 2023 when we were, we finished 14-3, we had, or 13-4, whatever it was, we lost to the Browns early in the season. So you can never count out these division games, and we want to win the division. We want to win all 6 games in the division, something we haven't done since I've been here. So we know that it's an important game, but we're going to be ready for it. The other stuff is, it is what it is. It's not really for us. Like that's kind of a weekly thing. We play in primetime games and we have all the distractions, if you will, out there. But at the end of the day, like we have a job to do and we all know that. And if we want to get to where we want to go, we got to win. So we'll be ready to rock.
Well, and you mentioned division games. It was the stat that came up prior to this year, since you have beaten the Browns twice this year, that prior to this year, the last 4 years, the Ravens and Browns split. And I thought about that for a second. I'm thinking, I know we've had some tight games, but I'm thinking, wow, we haven't swept the Browns in 4 years.
Yeah,
But
since
it goes to
2020.
show. Yeah, I mean, but it goes to show. I don't know how you guys do that physically on a short week, though. And I've always advocated that, having that Thursday game. I wish the NFL didn't do that to you guys with that. But my question, Nick, is how do you deal with all the different start times, though? Because I know with my routine, like I'm on the air at 5 a.m. in the morning for my full-time gig down on the Delaware and Maryland beaches. And so I start at 5, I'm up at 3 a.m. And, by the time we get to about this time, it's kind of past my bedtime, but you guys play at 1, you play at 8, but you play Thursday, you play Sunday, you play Monday. And well, back in the COVID year, you even had that Wednesday game against the Steelers.
Mhm.
But I don't know how you guys do it because it's all over the place. And there's with a high profile team like you guys, there's no consistency.
Yeah, that Wednesday game was my NFL debut. This little fun fact there about Nick.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it definitely is different. Obviously, when you play an 8 o'clock game, you get, coach likes to say cut the day in half. So some guys like to get up early. They like to eat and, be not active, but they like to move around, get their body going, and then they'll take a nap, noon or whatever. I'm one of the guys, I like to sleep as long as possible. So what I do, and science is probably going to hate me for this, but I like to stay up late when we have a night game. Because, for us, these night games, they get over at 11 o'clock. So like I have to be mentally locked in at 10:30 at night or 11 o'clock at night if we're going to hit a game-winning field goal, which we've done against the Bengals in our stadium a couple years ago on a Sunday night football game. Like those are the times that you have to be the absolute highest, mental focus. And so for me, like I won't go to sleep till 1-2 o'clock in the morning so I'll probably be tired on Wednesday, so I might go to sleep a little bit earlier, but like I won't go to sleep before the game would end. So like game will be over at 11. I'll probably go to sleep earliest at like midnight. And that's just like I want to be mentally focused at night. So I try to do like activity stuff the night before the game if we have a night game, just keeping my mind occupied, and then I will sleep until it's a little bit harder with the kids and if we're at home. So the kids will come and wake me up, but like my wife is really good about, letting me sleep till at least noon or 1 o'clock, at least letting me like stay in my room and kind of just be calm. And, then I'll get up and I'll start doing the stuff I like to eat, basically right away and try to do that. But you learn as you go, like obviously 1 o'clock game this weekend. So like we're up and at 'em at 8 o'clock in the morning. I got to be at the stadium at 10:45. Like you got to be firing on all cylinders, 11, 12, 1 o'clock early, compared to a night game. So it takes time to develop that routine, and everybody's different. And, I'm sure I'd have a different routine if I was a player who played 50, 60 snaps a game, but I play 10 plays a game at most. So I have a pretty different situation than most guys. So it just takes time to learn it and find what works best for you.
Coach, what time do you and the boys have to be there in Towson on
So
Thursday
it's
morning?
10 o'clock kickoff.
Oh,
We'll
that's
probably,
early.
yeah, that one's a weird one too, because you look at high school, it's like most of our games are at night, and like
Yeah,
even our practices are always in the afternoon because of school. So this is
that's
really
actually
uncharted territory for a high school kid.
wow.
But we'll
Yeah.
get to,
Early, dude.
yeah, it's
Oh my
really
God.
early.
10
They got
a.m.
the Ravens at night, so we got to end early.
Yeah,
Well,
gotta
well,
pump it up.
You know what I think that goes back to, though, now that I think about it, back in the day, when a number of public schools were in the old MSA, it was a mixture of public and private prior to 1993, that on Thanksgiving, you had Calvert Hall Loyola at 10 a.m. and then City Poly at 2 in the afternoon, both at Memorial Stadium. So I think the 10 a.m. time was because they had a second game. If
mm,
that was never the case, I'm not so sure that game may not have been a little bit later in the morning at 11 a.m. or something like that. But yeah, 10 a.m. is early, and it's always interesting because covering high school football is one of my side gigs. I always think about summer camp, and in a lot of cases, not all. And Coach, you can correct me. I don't know what you guys did exactly, but I know when I played, we actually did 3-a-days: offense or defense in the morning and or afternoon, and then we did special teams in the middle. So we did 3-a-days. It was brutal our junior year, but we started at 8 o'clock in the morning. But you're never, during the season, you're playing either, and most of our games were Saturday at 1. We never really did have many Friday night games, but either way, you're practicing at a completely different time than you're playing the game. And I always found that to be odd, that you're training, but it's how it's going to be during the regular season.
yeah, I mean, like you won't know where the position of the sun is, or like there's a lot of weird factors that could like mess with it. I mean, like circadian rhythm, like I think what
Oh, yeah.
Nick's doing from like a staying at like that makes 100. Like you said, the science might kill
Yeah,
you. I
yeah.
was like, this is like this guy's got some high level science going on here.
Well, they say go to sleep early, but I'm like, dude, I'm gonna be up late tomorrow night, so I
Yeah,
need
no
to
doubt.
be
I
ready to
thought you
go.
were spot on. I was like, man, I'm writing some stuff down over here. This guy's got it.
I don't
But
know what to do for a 10 a.m. game. I'll be
yeah, me
honest. That
neither.
is, I mean, I
So
don't have, because I'd have to be at the field at 8:30 in the morning. I have no idea.
yeah,
No, I'd have
so
to be at 7.
we'll get the kids to Calvert Hall probably by like 6:50. We'll feed them breakfast. Probably do like a quick refresher meeting just to get everybody's mind acclimated a little bit. We'll leave Calvert Hall at 8. We'll be at Towson by probably 8:15. And then we'll start our actual like game day prep. We'll kick off at 8:50. For a 10 a.m. game. So basically, I mean, you have all your time slots. Like we
Yeah,
have our 7 p.m. times that just go back from 7 p.m. and now they just go back from 10 a.m.
yeah,
So it's not hard to figure out how to do it. It's more about like, are the kids going to be able to function the same way when I'm not a math guy, like 9 hours earlier, 10 hours earlier, whatever it is. So that'll be interesting. If we didn't have school the couple days before, like I think it'd be awesome to go do a 9 o'clock practice and just kind of give them exactly what they were going to do. Like I might have to go talk to the principal tomorrow and see if we can work this out within our day. But and Andy Moore might be all about it. I don't know.
As a former coach, I hope he would be,
Yeah.
and I know
So
Brother
like,
John would
we're
be
like,
all about it.
hey Andy, I need 2 days in a row that we get a walkthrough in the middle of the school day. So sorry, biology, like we need to go win a football game. But I don't know. I think high school kids are resilient. At the end of the day, they're going to be excited to be playing in the Turkey Bowl.
yeah.
Hopefully they don't stay up until 2 a.m. the night before this one. So
hopefully not. That
I'm
would be
I'm gonna
bad.
talk to them about Nick's method and show how that means they should probably go to sleep
Like
significantly early.
5:30, 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. I mean, it'll be midnight. It'll feel like midnight because it'll be pitch black outside. So you can go
Honestly,
to sleep at 6 or 7.
the worst part for me is like I'm like the Thanksgiving guy in my family. Like it's
Mhm.
always been my favorite holiday. Like I do all the cooking. Um, like no knock on my wife, but like I'm the cook in our household, and like I'll smoke the turkey, I'll make all the sides, like I'll do all this big shebang for like our whole family, and I've been doing it for probably I don't know, like a lot of my adult years going back. And this will be the first year that like we might have to like order takeout or like who knows what we're gonna do. Like I don't have time to cook, obviously, and we got a newborn, and our families are kind of split in Pennsylvania and Virginia, and like we're not going to be able to travel to Thanksgiving dinners. So like it'll be a weird Thanksgiving from a holiday standpoint, but we couldn't be more excited just to dive deeper into what this community is going to give us for the Turkey Bowl.
Hey, well, I'll buy you Thanksgiving. You win Thursday, I'll buy you Thanksgiving dinner. So I'll have it delivered to your doorstep, right?
Yeah. Well, then I'll have to give you my address, which that may be a negative thing depending upon the outcome.
Yeah. Look, you just kick their butt. You go home, get some takeout, get a nice little drink. Watch the Ravens kick butt too. So it'll be
I'll
a great
be
day.
waiting for our highlights. So that'll be fun.
That'll be pretty sweet seeing the guys on NBC during the game. That'd be pretty cool.
It'll be a good recruiting tool. We'll definitely repost the heck out of that one after it happens.
Oh, because I'm sure they'll give the history on the Turkey Bowl and all that.
Yeah, it'll be awesome. I mean, like when our like director of media like called me when I was driving home because like we were talking about something different earlier in the day, and she was like, "Oh, like this will make you feel better. Like this is a cool thing they're doing." I was like, "Man, that's awesome. Like we are going to be prime time. We'll be like the low light of the prime time with you guys.
Dude, you guys will be awesome.
But it'll be really cool. It'll definitely be an exciting time for just the Baltimore community, like not just Calvert Hall. Like it'll be a cool thing for Baltimore.
Yeah, Nick, I'm curious because I've picked up some work doing doing call-ins and getting guests after Ravens games for a buddy of mine, and so working Thanksgiving night, my wife's going to be at her family's in Northern Virginia. I'm curious as to what the spread's going to be in the press box for the media. So I hope they have pumpkin pie.
They'll probably do something nice, I'm sure.
They do a good job. They do a good job. I've never worked there for Thanksgiving before, so I've been in studio on Thanksgiving. There was a year where my mom literally brought me a plate of Thanksgiving dinner while I was on the air doing in-game for one of the Ravens 49ers game back in 2012 when Jim was the head coach of the San Francisco. I remember that. But they always do a good job, and I'm curious what it's going to be like. But hey, just make sure they have pumpkin pie. So if you can put
you'll be able to get some turducken going.
Turducken. I was like, you got to go with the turducken.
Yeah, I haven't heard good things about the turducken, but it's a fun fact going back to the game you mentioned earlier about the Wednesday night game. That was supposed to be on Thanksgiving in Pittsburgh that year, and then it got pushed back like 4 or 5 times, and we ended up playing that following Wednesday because we were supposed to have back-to-back Thursday nights against Pittsburgh and then Dallas, and we played Pittsburgh on Wednesday, then we played Dallas on Tuesday, then we played Cleveland. Last time we swept the Browns, we played them on that following Monday. That was actually my first win. This is way off topic here, but that was actually my first win in the Browns Stadium as a player on the field. Because we won in 2020, I was on practice squad, and then we won in 2023, but I was injured. So that was my first win. That was a big win. They all those games have been the exact same way as that one. We hit the other 3. We hadn't played. A lot of turnovers. Didn't play very well. Didn't execute. Ended up losing it down the stretch. And then last year was Jameis Winston. The infamous Jameis Winston. And then this year we were same exact gameplay. We were just able to pull it out at the end. So
yeah, they don't make it easy. It gets ugly.
No, people like to poop on the Browns, man. That defense is unbelievable. Like they are absolutely insane. Myles Garrett, I'm gonna say it here. He's the best player in football. I don't care what anybody says. He's the best player in football, and he is just a special player. And he just makes that D line. They got the first rounder. I can't think of his name. Number 96. He's also a dog. Their special teams is really good. Yeah, their Their special teams is always really good. They've just struggled. They have had inconsistent quarterback play over the last, God knows how many years it's been since they've had a legitimate quarterback in there that's done well. But they're a great team. They play us great no matter what. I mean, we beat them with Joe Flacco early in the season. That was kind of the first game I have been a part of where we actually handled them pretty well. Every other time I played them, the other 7 times I played them, it has been a bloodbath the entire game. And really, like we had the block punt, set us up short field, and we had the interception to the 2-yard line that set us up for a short field, which we didn't even score a touchdown on. But they always play us well. It's like I said with the division games, man. Anybody can win those games. You got to be on your P's and Q's for those.
I always like seeing when they bring up, like, you almost need a dang Excel file to show it, but the amount of quarterbacks they've had in like the last 5 years.
That would look ugly.
There's the one
from Baker to now, it's like 20 quarterbacks.
There's the one fan that has the jacket that has all the quarterbacks on it since they had a good team. And it's like, dude, it's
like
and they
41.
just cross them out. Yeah, they just cross them out when they get cut. And dude, it's so many. And they're all like, the crazy thing is all these, like, not all of them, but a lot of them are like really good quarterbacks, like first picks in the draft, top 10 picks in the draft. And they just, quarterbacks, I guess, Cleveland's where quarterbacks go to die, I guess. I have no idea.
Tim Couch was that first one out of Kentucky back in '99 when they reestablished themselves. And their defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, Sean and Tyler, he went to Mount St. Joe. And he coached with the Ravens back when they first came to town. He was on that staff, and then he's been with a number of teams now with the Browns with that. But interesting thing. So the Colts left Baltimore when I was 3.5. So growing up, I didn't really know Baltimore Colts. My dad, my uncles did, obviously, but they were, but I was young. But so my AFC team, though, was the Browns. And it just so happened that they moved to Baltimore, so it all worked out there. But anyway, interesting.
Well, Coach Ward, good luck next Thursday. You're going to, keep us on the edge of our seat. I'm sure it's going to be a great game. And I'll be there with my son cheering you on over at Towson and looking forward to a good game.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It'll be awesome. I selfishly, somebody was saying, I hope it's like great weather so everybody gets to show up. And I was like, I hope it's 20 degrees raining and 20-degree wind because they want to throw it every play. So, but for your sake,
in the morning and stops in the evening. Okay,
no rain. For your sake, I hope it's great weather for obviously the Ravens game and all the fans in the stands at Towson. And
it could pour in the morning at 10 a.m. It could just torrential downpour as long as it stops at 8:20.
No doubt. I hear you. I need to stop being selfish. So
no,
about everybody else. But
my dad used to do the same thing, man. He's still because the high school I went to, all they did was run the ball. We ran the ball every play. Like we just ran the ball all the time. And every game, he's like, I hope it just pours. I'm like, Dad, it makes football so much harder. Like, why? He's like, they just want to pass. All we do is run the ball. Like, we're gonna win. But I respect it. I respect the game. So good luck. Guys, kick some butt, and then enjoy some family time watching the Ravens do the same.
Yeah, definitely. Good luck to you guys as well.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, got to go 2-0. I'll be at the game in the morning and the game at night, so got to go 2-0. We'll be a good Thanksgiving.
There we go.
Well, yeah, Coach, best wishes. Nothing but the best, 100%, and glad to see what you're doing with the program. And we're excited, and I think this program has a good future ahead of itself, no matter how Thursday turns out. But best wishes. And Nick, good meeting you for the first time, and Ravens fan ever since 1996. So looking forward to it, and go get him. And Joe Flacco back in Baltimore for a second time this year. Who would have thought that?
I know.
I was secretly hoping that he would get traded to Pittsburgh, but I know the trade deadline's over. I would love to see Joe Flacco under center for the Steelers. 3 teams.
Well, they're saying Joey B's coming back for the Thanksgiving. That's what the rumor on the street is. That's what he said. He said he's coming back week 13.
And Jamar Chase spit on someone a week too early, so he'll be back.
Yeah, I know. Tough day.
Dude, if someone spit on you, Nick, what are you doing, man? Are you getting ejected, or are you just going to suck it up?
Depends on who it is, man. If Myles Garrett spits on me, I think I'm just going to walk over to the sideline, shake his hand, say good job, and just go. But if I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. Like,
I mean, is there another snapper? Like, you
no,
gotta
no,
think
no,
about
no,
that
there's
too.
not.
Like,
No,
you
there's
don't have
not.
somebody else to come in for you if you get kicked out.
There's,
Spoken like a true coach. Yeah, who's your backup?
The backup is Charlie Kolar. So tight
Yeah,
end.
you gotta
no.
take it, man. I hate to say it, but you
I
just
think
gotta take it.
I know I don't know. Hopefully, I'm never in that predicament. But I would like to think I would be calm and collected in that moment. But again, you never know.
I was watching that game and I'm like, what the hell is Jalen Ramsey doing? Like, are you kidding me? Because you didn't see it happen, you know? It was just like, oh, you moron. But
shit happens, man.
No, so does spit. All right. Well, spit and shit happens. Well,
It does.
thanks everyone for
on Thanksgiving.
Yeah. None from us.
Exactly.
Or Calvert Hall.
No, man, we're men of integrity. We don't do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here tonight, gentlemen. I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hopefully we go 2-0, Calvert Hall, Ravens, and we bring it home for the great state of Maryland.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Sean.
Yep. Look
Nice
forward to
meeting you
seeing you
guys.
all on Thanksgiving.
Yep.
All right.
Right.
Have a great evening. Cheers, everybody.
See you, bud. Cheers, guys.
Hey, guys.